What's going on, guys? We've got some recent news from Mara, and Mara launches an $850 million convertible note offering deal to buy more Bitcoin. Now, this is a private offering, meaning that these notes will be offered to qualified institutional buyers only, and there will be an option for initial purchasers to acquire an additional $150 million worth within 13 days of issuance. These notes are set to mature on August 1 of 2032, and Mara plans to use this obviously towards Bitcoin purchases, also potential acquisitions, debt repayment, working capital, and the like. These notes will be convertible into cash, shares, so it is dilutive in some cases, or a combination of both. And Mara isn't responding very well to this news. It is dilutive news in the end. The big picture is this will allow Mara to buy even more Bitcoin and take them even farther away from the pack. They're already the largest holder of Bitcoin in terms of the Bitcoin miners, and this furthers their lead. Now, from a cycle standpoint, this is one Bitcoin miner that isn't outperforming Bitcoin. It's underperforming most of the other Bitcoin miners actually. After this drop, it is now only 458% up from the beginning of the cycle versus Bitcoin's roughly 7x, CleanSpark's roughly 7x, and other Bitcoin miners that have performed much better. At Mara's best points, it was around a 10x from the crypto bottom. So at certain times during the cycle, it has done better than Bitcoin during times of profitability, keyword. One thing I'm expecting to see from Mara is a test of the 200 MA. If that breaks, a test of the 50 MA. Because of this recent recovery, we are very close to seeing a golden cross. Even with this drop, we are very likely to see it, if you ask me. Because these are lagging indicators, they're still accounting for recent up days that were fantastic. Bitcoin miners charts have been improving. We've been seeing more and more of them above the 50 and 200 MA. More and more of these Bitcoin miners getting close to a golden cross. And for those of you that believe in Mara, I do think this could be a buying opportunity. You also have to consider the cycle. Do you believe that the cycles are broken because of the spot ETFs and we aren't going to have a major crypto winter? Then this could be a good buy. If you believe the cycles will play out like they always have for Bitcoin, you might want to wait on it. Now, I'll leave this down below for you guys, but this shows you different Bitcoin companies. This is bitcointreasuries.net. It shows you the company, it shows you their holding, it also shows you their net asset value multiple. So this is the multiple of their company's market cap, basically, based on Bitcoin balance. See how they have $71 billion worth of Bitcoin. This is MicroStrategy, by the way. They have 607,000 Bitcoin. $71 billion worth. The market cap is 117 billion. That's how they came up with this net asset value multiple. It is at a slight premium to the Bitcoin that they hold. This is a pretty attractive multiple compared to many other stocks that are involved in Bitcoin. Mara is an actual exception. Mara is a better value than MicroStrategy if you're just looking at their Bitcoin held. Their net asset value is very close to their Bitcoin value. They hold $5.8 billion worth of Bitcoin, soon to be more because of this offering, and it is a $6 billion market cap. It is a pretty fair value to the Bitcoin held. Here's one stock that I'm not a fan of. This is Bitfarms. This is a 5 times multiple to the Bitcoin that they hold. They hold $137 million worth of Bitcoin according to bitcointreasuries.net, and they are a $711 million market cap. Their Bitcoin percentage to market cap is 19%. Their net asset value multiple to Bitcoin is 5 times. This company is worth 5 times the amount of Bitcoin that they hold. Now, if it deserves that or not, that's up to you and the market to decide. But if you're looking for companies involved in Bitcoin, here's a tip. You want to find ones that are closest to the net asset value. But for something like this, you can just buy Bitcoin outright and you're getting better exposure to Bitcoin, if you ask me. But I'll leave that down below for you guys in the description if you're interested in looking over that, seeing what certain companies' values are based on their Bitcoin held, their net asset values, so on and so forth. Now, looking at Bitcoin dominance, we have been seeing Bitcoin dominance fall off a cliff, trying to make a little recovery here. Keep an eye on this 62% area. This might become a resistance. But based on the cycle, based on where we are timeline-wise, I would expect to see Bitcoin dominance continue to fall. I would not say that it broke structure yet. I would say if we can go down to 59% and break that, we got very close. We got to 60.5. But if we can go to about 59% or so, if we can break this, this would break this structure. And this might be a sign of Bitcoin dominance continuing to drop. That doesn't mean Bitcoin has to go down. It just means the rate of the alts outperforming Bitcoin. The rate of the alts going up is more than Bitcoin. But typically when you see Bitcoin dominance at this level, you do see a recovery. Look back here. It kind of spiked back up before dominance dropped again. Look back here. Kind of spiked back up before dominance dropped massively. So anticipate Bitcoin's dominance rising a little bit in the meantime before its next leg down, if you ask me. Based on the cycle, we should see alts perform well. And Ethereum has been doing fantastic. I just talked about in the last video how Ethereum has had even more consistent inflows than Bitcoin, which isn't normal unless we're in alt season. Now, I'm curious, guys, where you think Bitcoin ends up to end this cycle. Do you think the cycles are broken? Let me know if you think that down below. Do you think there won't be a crypto winter, basically? But where do you think Bitcoin tops out at? Do you think Bitcoin can pass Amazon, take that number 5 spot? Do you think it'll take Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia down? Do you think it can take gold by the end of the cycle? Or will it take till next cycle or the following? It is still a 10x away from gold. Bitcoin would need to be over $1 million to be anywhere near gold's market cap, which I do think will happen one day, but probably not this cycle, probably not even the next one. I personally think we will see Bitcoin pass Amazon, and it might end there. I think it also has a shot to take down Apple, but we would likely need to see Apple pull back. But if Bitcoin does reach 150K like we've been expecting, then it would take that spot from Amazon, and it would be a hair under Apple. But I'm just kind of curious where you guys think Bitcoin will go. The fact that it is where it is now is honestly mind-blowing. If you would have told me last cycle, back in 2020, back in 2019, even at the peak of 2021, that Bitcoin would be where it is here, I wouldn't have believed you. Now, we do have some upcoming economic data. This is actually July 31, the end of the month, so we have some time. But keep in mind, this is going to be very important. This comes after the Fed meeting, so it will likely change future meetings. Expectations of rate cuts. It has nothing to do with this coming meeting that's going to be July 30, which is very unlikely to get a cut. If this comes out positive a day after the Fed meeting, we see that, inflation came back down to 2.2, maybe 2.1, as long as it's under 2.3 and not above it, this will make it very likely for the Fed to cut rates in the following meeting, which is already very likely as is. Now, here's our upcoming meeting for July, the 30th of July. Basically, completely expected to get no rate cut. Going to September, it is most likely that we do get a rate cut. If we see PCE come in at a 2.2, 2.1, as long as it's not higher than 2.3, I do think the odds increase even. And by the end of the year, the market is still anticipating 2 rate cuts as the most likely scenario. A possibility of only 1 and a possibility of as much as 3. Very unlikely that we get 4, a 0.9% there. And it's also very likely that rates stay where they are, a 6% chance there. Now, before I leave, I wanted to add, keep an eye on BTBT. It was very close to filling its gap. It kind of dipped down here. It's trying to come back. But keep an eye on this roughly 294 to 312 area. I think this will be a fantastic time to add some BTBT as we approach earnings. And by the way, Mara's earnings is actually coming up. It's one of the first Bitcoin miners to report. So they will be very important to keep an eye on to see what their earnings gives us. Is it going to be a profitable quarter? I would expect it based on Bitcoin's performance during that quarter. But Mara will give us some insight into what the other Bitcoin miners are going to report. So keep an eye on Mara reporting earnings. And TradingView has this as Tuesday, 29 of July. So right at the end of this month, we're going to see what Mara reports for earnings. Is it going to be profitable? I do personally think so, but let me know what you guys think. Do you think the Bitcoin miners are going to end this cycle on profitability? If you ask me, look at Bitcoin's price during Q2 and so far during Q3, and I would say it's very likely that Bitcoin miners are going to end the year in the cycle with profitability. But what say you? I'm always interested in your comments and thoughts. Leave them down below. Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.